Hello and welcome back to the Rope Access and Climbing Podcast. I'm your host, Mikey Stevenson, and today I'm going to be talking about It's Not Rocket Science. If this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. So stay tuned. Step into your harness and get ready for a podcast about the vertical world. All right, well, let's dive into today's episode. But before we do that, I just wanted to say thank you very much to each and every one of you that have voiced your opinion on acceptable, unacceptable. Let me know in comments what you're doing and stuff like that, and asking questions. Also to the people that are sending me private messages and starting the conversation. I've received a lot of messages, a lot of photos over the last little while, and I cannot thank you enough. So keep them up, and let's dive in. All right, so this morning, I had no idea what I was going to be talking about. If you follow me on Instagram, you would definitely know that because I posted an Instagram story about that. But here we are, and this conversation comes from some acceptable, unacceptable posts that I made on Facebook, got shared to another page on Instagram, and I was just going through the comments and chatting with people and just trying to see where their head's at and, get to the final conclusion of unacceptable or acceptable. Now, I have to say I'm very interested in the vast thought process here and the difference of opinion between acceptable or unacceptable. It was, people were far left, far right. Very few people were in the middle with some of these scenarios. So, with the YouTube channel and Facebook, I was posting videos explaining it from side to side, kind of breaking it down, going into acceptable or unacceptable. In some cases, on YouTube, I will kind of explain how to make it even better if it's, not acceptable. But obviously on Instagram, I'm stuck there just kind of, texting it, writing it out, and just kind of explaining it that way. So it was a little bit different. Photo doesn't really do it justice necessarily, but as long as you're reading into the fine details of the scenario, then you're kind of able to kind of put it together. But anyways, that's how we came to today's episode. Now, rope access is relatively simple. Okay, it's not rocket science. You go up, you go down, you go sideways, and you do some rigging. Okay, somewhere in the mix of that, you have to prepare for a rescue. And at the end of the day, if you can't rescue someone, you're not allowed to legally put them to work. Simple. That is what rope access is. If you're going to start thinking, and trying to create massive, intricate systems for no reason, then you're setting yourself up and your crew for failure. So as an instructor, I do find that a lot of people tend to do this pretty frequently. Okay, I will ask them to rig up a basic set of ropes, make a deviation, something like that, and just kind of walk away from them. Just very basic direction. However, all of a sudden I see them pulling, another 2 or 3 sets of ropes out, a bunch of descent devices, a bunch of ASAPs, ducks, and make this massive intricate system. Here we are 2 hours later, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's not my job to stop you to see where your head's at. But if I didn't give you massive parameters being like, oh, there's a hot pipe here, and there's a pool of piranhas over there, and there's a spiky wall of death over here, why are you thinking that exists? Okay, and the general consensus is, oh, well, I thought you wanted this. Well, did I tell you that there was any of these hazards? No. Did I tell you that you had to avoid anything? No. I asked you for a basic set of ropes. That's it. Okay. Now, it is also your job, being a level 2 or a level 3 that's in that position of rigging, to ask for clarification. Okay? Do not assume. Assuming makes everybody look stupid. Okay? In this case, it makes you look stupid. Now, what I'm trying to get at here is slow down, think of things, ask the questions. There's no harm in asking questions. There's no harm in admitting that you don't know something. Generally speaking, if you're in a course, you're there to learn. So there is no stupid question, no matter how big or how small the question is, okay? This is your education. You need to do whatever it takes for your success. Now, when you're in the field, when you're in training or any of this stuff, when you're doing rope access, I personally don't give a flying crap about the tricks. Okay? I also, generally speaking, I don't give a crap about the small details about this knot is stronger than this knot. This knot, you have to tie the upper strand to the lower strand is the load strand. This knot is for this. I don't care. Okay? Because everything you've been trained in the past is all relative. Now, worrying about that small, intricate detail doesn't matter. Why? Because we have a massive safety factor. All that stuff is already taken care of. It's already thought of. Engineers have done their job. You're not the engineer. Don't think for them. Okay? The testing has already been done. Now, unless you're doing all these tricks on a regular basis and you have time to train your entire crew on what you're doing in the field, which you probably don't because you're on a job, let's be honest, you are not failing yourself, but you're also failing your crew. What do I mean by that? Well, it's pretty basic. If you pull out all these little fancy tricks about, oh, I got to tie this off and I got to do this and I got to do this and oh, this line's going up over here and I got this. In the event of a rescue, are you actually going to be able to carry out the rescue? Because if your crew can't do it, that's not really speaking very highly of yourself. Okay? Chances are if your crew can't help you out, you ain't going to be able to carry out the rescue. So, these tricks, unless you're doing them day in and day out and working with the same crew and everyone's on the same page, you're failing yourself and your crew. So keep it simple, stupid. That's what it comes down to. Now, I've said this a couple times before on my podcast, and I will continuously say this until it's modified somehow, somewhere. You must rig your jobs up for the rescue and then modify the rigging according to the task at hand. At the end of the day, you still have to be able to rescue the person before you put them to work. So keep it simple. All right? Your crew's there to support you and back you up. If they can't help you, you're not helping yourself or them. If you have any experience in the Alpine, you will understand what I'm talking about with this statement. In the Alpine, safety is speed. Now, in rope access, simplicity is effectiveness. Effectiveness is safety. If you keep things simple, it will be safe. Now, excluding some of your jobs, you may have to get a little creative. You may not have the best anchor selection. You may not have the best anchor locations. So you do have to get a little bit intricate, a little bit, creative, if you will. Now, if you're in the oil and gas industry, chances are your creativity is pretty minimal. For the individuals that are doing building maintenance, window washing, stuff like that, you are going to definitely have to have a little bit more of a creative mind to make sure that you can put ropes where, let's be honest, they weren't designed to be there. Okay? Most buildings that have building maintenance on skyscrapers are designed to have swing stages, not people hanging off of ropes off the side of them. So the anchors aren't necessarily in the locations that you wish they would be. Or there may not be very many of them. So you have to kind of be a little bit more creative. But that being said, make sure that you're following the same parameters. You have your 2 points of attachment. You're attaching to 2 separate independent anchors. You're using appropriate safe knots that have been tested and proven, and you've been trained on. At the end of the day, you have to be competent in the scope of work that you're doing. Now, that being said, if you're a level 1 rigging on a roof by yourself, you're not trained to do that under your certification scheme. You're not allowed to work by yourself, and you probably should undergo professional training called professional development. Okay? Also, make sure that you have somebody of a greater level there supervising the scope of work. So, that's pretty much what I have for today. Just kind of going over those sort of things. Don't think about the little things. Think about the big picture. All right? It was interesting to see that the one tension line where the guy was hanging on one cow's tail, people were saying his butt is on the beam. It's his second point of attachment. We're doing rope access here, guy. Okay? You need 2 independent points of attachment. Your butt and your feet on a beam or a structure or on a pipe don't count. Because if that cow's tail fails, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from hitting the ground. This is not fall arrest. This is not fall restraint. Okay? This is rope access. So, thank you very much for tuning in to today's episode. I hope this was a little enlightening. I know it's a little interesting as doing a recap of all those other acceptable, unacceptable posts there on social media. If you want to see more of these videos and comment on these videos as I post them, make sure to head over to YouTube if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel there and comment on all those posts. I want to see what you're all doing out there. Okay. If you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure to like the video to show your support. I'm going to continue to make more and more of these episodes each and every Sunday. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and I will see you on the next one.